Now, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Lucas, aka 3 Point Spanish King, and here we're here to review the New Zealand Bangladesh first Test match, and here with our guest Michael from New Zealand, all the way from his precious harbour, which I'm so jealous of. Unfortunately, Adam could not be here today, but we have got Michael reviewing, and Michael. Goodness me, what a historic first test, especially for Bangladesh.
Oh, yeah, and look, full credit to Bangladesh. They played excellent cricket, and they thoroughly deserved to win. There was no, look, every match there's elements of luck. You've got to be good enough and lucky enough to win. They were good enough and lucky enough, and with the emphasis on the good enough. They played wonderful cricket.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into that. New Zealand, I think, won the toss and they decided to bat. I think, Michael, I might be wrong there.
No, I think Bangladesh won the toss and chose to bowl.
Okay, yeah, so Bangladesh.
No one bats in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So Bangladesh won the toss and decided to bowl first. New Zealand made a very decent amount of total, 328. I think Devon Conway made 100. But that first innings, Michael, I think it was missed opportunities. Will Young got run out, I think. Tom Latham never got start. Henry Nicholls probably ran out of partners at the end. But it was going very smoothly for New Zealand. We were thinking about 450, maybe 500. Same old like we usually see with Bangladesh and roll them in 2 days. But like I said, that run out to Real Young pretty much changed the whole momentum of that innings, because they were cruising along and then a couple of wickets fell and then, not as we thought good bowling Bangladesh, especially on that second morning day.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that was particularly noteworthy about Bangladesh was that their fielding stayed up. When you're 180 for one or whatever New Zealand were, you're normally the fielding side drops their heads and they're a bit slower to get to the ball. They're a bit, at that point there, they pulled off a run out that was a great bit of work.
Yeah.
The catch, Lytton Das's catch to get rid of Tom Latham was outstanding. And then there were a couple of other good bits of there were some genuinely good bits of cricket to take some of those, some of the catches. And, I mean, that's Ross Taylor's catch. I mean, it was, he should have kept the ball down, but he had every right to expect not to be caught with that.
Smashed it.
And so, Bangladesh, I mean, their bowling was on. They bowled really good, really disciplined lines. There was no freebies. So New Zealand actually had to hit good balls rather than having to wait for the bad ones. And because of that, it meant that there was a little bit of more risk. But to go from, was it 270 for 5 to 330 all out, that was pretty disappointing. And I think that second new ball in the first spell in the morning, Bangladesh just played some really good cricket. Mahidi, again, I mean, we're starting to see this happening a bit in the world, that there are some spinners that are better in the first innings. Nathan Lyon is better in the first innings than the second innings. Dan Vittori was the same. Mitchell Santner, generally better in the first innings than the second innings. And Mahidi seems to be the same. He's better when there's a bit. He's not one of those get variable bounces and spin it big as the pitch deteriorates. He's actually someone who does pretty well on a fairly standard pitch. And he bowled really, really well. So there's those sort of things. You think Bangladesh played really well, and they just didn't create. They didn't give. New Zealand made a couple of mistakes and never got back in the game.
Also, their captain. I'm terrible with these names, Michael. So you're gonna have to help me out here. Okay. Also took 2 wickets. Was very economical. And then, like I said, we thought New Zealand would make, as they literally do against Bangladesh, 500, 550 plus. Didn't happen. So Bangladesh came out halfway through, I think it was the early session of day 2. And they batted, I must say, brilliantly. Now, no one particularly made 100, but this was more of a team effort, a full 11 team effort. Shanto, the captain, Hasan Joy, all
Phenomenal.
made 50 plus. Das, the wicketkeeper, made 80. This was a proper team effort. No one will stand out. And that was a surprise shock because literally you see this with Bangladesh. You see a lot of these players can make starts, but they don't really go on with it. But that didn't really matter when you had a full team of these guys making 50 and contributing all along the pitch. How did you see their first innings?
Oh, look, incredibly disciplined. You saw the guys, with the exception of Lytton Das, the rest of them limited their game to 1 or 2 shots. They waited until the ball was in the right place and then they hit it, and they frustrated the bowlers into bowling to them, and that's really good Test cricket. I mean, Lytton Das came out and played his shots, and had a little bit of luck, but got away with it, and played a really good innings. And one of the things you see often in really top Test teams, the top 3 or 4 batsmen sort of play a little bit slowly and a little bit defensively and wear the bowlers down, and then you've got someone either at 5 or 6 or somewhere like that coming and really hammering the bowlers when they're tired. And Lytton Das did that. It was like watching Colin de Grandhomme playing for New Zealand, but instead it was happening against us.
Yes. We saw this with the first innings of Bangladesh. The New Zealand bowlers, they bowled a lot of overs. Wagner, obviously, the New Zealand bowlers are not as injury prone as Australia and other countries with their bowlers like North South Africa. Neil Wagner bowled 40 overs. Tim Southey, Trent Boult all bowled over 35. So did Kyle Jamieson. Do you think Tom Latham could have done something better to rotate his bowlers, or he just had to work with what he had?
Well, I mean, I don't think there was. I think there was some fielding choices that weren't great. I thought some of the fields that he set were a bit poor, but actually, you got to give credit to Bangladesh. They played a patient game and made New Zealand bowl lots of overs. Now, one of the things is the New Zealand team, they are pretty fit. Like Henry Nicholls broke the All Blacks fitness fitness trial record. Like these guys are elite athletes, and so bowling 25, 35 overs isn't a massive problem. But backing it up, you started to see in the that by the end of the innings, there was they didn't have the ability to clean up the tail like you would have liked, because they were just not quite as sharp as they would normally be.
Yeah, we'll move on to the New Zealand second innings, because New Zealand did eventually bowl them out for 58. New Zealand came in, and geez, Michael, this was a complete disaster, especially on that last day, a massive collapse. And I thought their fast bowler, Ebadot Hasan, was absolutely fantastic, brilliant spill of bowling, pace bowling. How did you see that unfold for New Zealand and Bangladesh?
I'd been watching him for a while. I looked at his stats, and they just didn't seem to fit how he was bowling. And I said in the first innings, he's bowling really well. He's bowling the sort of lines and lengths that work if he's 10 Ks faster or 6 inches taller. Like he was bowling like Courtney Walsh, but he wasn't tall enough to bowl like Courtney Walsh. But it was sort of the idea of that was because Courtney Walsh had been his mentor. Walsh saw him bowling for the Bangladesh Air Force team and said, I like this kid, and got him and did a whole lot of one-on-one work with him and trained him up. And he played first-class cricket and destroyed everyone in Bangladesh. Then played in the BPL, playing against all the overseas players, was bouncing them out, causing all sorts of problems. But then he had a test average of something like 100 coming into this game. Just hadn't been taking wickets. And it was like he knew how to bowl well, but didn't know how to take test wickets. And he figured it out in the second innings.
He did, and what he's actually just stay on that, Michael. Just to let the viewers know that he's actually the fastest bowler in Bangladesh. He can bowl 140. So he's the fastest bowler they've got.
I think Taskin's quicker. I think Taskin can bowl 142, 143, but he's close to that. But he's 5'9" or something. He's not a big, he's not a massive guy. He's just a normal sized guy that just can bowl pretty quick. But what he is, and it was a little bit like watching McGrath, he just kept hitting the seam. He just ball after ball after ball, heading for just outside off stump, hitting the seam and going in or going out. And when you're playing against that, you just can't do anything. Like, what are you supposed to do? A guy's bowling 140 Ks,
Yeah.
and the ball's moving just, I think they were saying that the average ball was moving 5.5 centimeters. Well, 5.5 centimeters is the distance from the middle to the edge of the bat. That's like the perfect amount to move it.
Yeah, a majority of his dismissals were bowled. That's how much movement he was getting.
Well, and what he was doing is he was bowling the ball just outside off and seaming it in. And the New Zealand batsmen should have a good technique against that, but there were a few that had their bat away from their pads. And I think part of that's just having been in the field for so long. You lose some of that sort of sharpness. But yeah, he was outstandanding. Hey, I've got to let you know, looks like my battery's just about gone. So if I disappear on you, that will be, that's the reason.
I'll just keep going by myself, but I'll just go quickly. Bangladesh second innings, they only had to chase 40. Quick wicket left of Southee. You've said something interesting on Twitter. You said that if Bangladesh were chasing 140, 150, this could have been a reasonable game. Your reason behind that?
Almost all their runs came through edges, through the slips, or inside edges down to fine leg. I mean, at one point they'd gone 5 overs with only scoring 1 run in front of the wicket. All of their runs had been off the edge. So if you add a bit of scoreboard pressure on that pitch, it would have been absolutely treacherous trying to chase 140. I think that would have been an excellent game. New Zealand just were a bit short in the first innings, and a fewer runs in the first innings. That would have been a great match.
Yep. And how did you see Tom Latham's captaincy in this match? No, I think we've lost Michael. Okay. I will go ahead. It happens. I thought Tom Latham's captaincy was a little bit poor. Michael just said that you have to give credit to Bangladesh. He said some of the field placings were a little bit bad. I personally, I would have liked to see Tom Latham use some part-timers just to mix it up. You saw Tim Payne against India at the Gabba fall victim to that when he did not rotate his bowlers. He used the same bowlers over and over. Going through New Zealand's part-time bowlers, I'm not sure that there's many bowlers there that can bowl part-time. Ross Taylor, I don't even think bowls in the nets. Maybe Henry Nicholls could have had a bowl. Will Young, Tom Latham. I can't really be sure because in Australia, you've got Labuschagne. You've got, Steve Smith. How even David Warner's got a damn test wicket. So I thought Tom Latham could have really done a lot more with his captaincy. Now, I was going to discuss with Michael the preview for the second test match, but since he had to go, that's okay. We can't really go there, so we'll just continue with this. I thought this was absolutely unbelievable from Bangladesh. I thought, we see so many starts from Bangladesh. They're not a team that really get demolished a lot, to be fair. I know India got them a couple of years ago at the Pink Night Test when they got absolutely rolled. But this team is a little bit competitive than most people think. Like I said, a lot of their players make starts. They make 20s or 30s, maybe 40s, but they don't go on with it. Now, obviously, this wasn't the case because there was about 5-6 different batters in the first innings. They got 50 runs. So if I can go through them here. So I have got my laptop. So Shanto, Hasan Joy, Mohammed Haik, Linton Das, even Mendy Hussain, made 50s and 40s. So this was a whole team effort. And Bangladesh, they fully deserved their win. I thought, New Zealand bowlers, I thought Wagner was pretty good. I think Wagner was the pick of their bowlers, as usual, bowling short of the length. But I just felt that Tom Latham really let down his team, in my opinion. Michael disagrees heavily with that. But I just think that he could have done a little bit more. New Zealand's fielding was not the best. Bangladesh's fielding was fantastic. It's something we do not see. When you mention Bangladesh, you think fielding always a problem. I think Otis Gibson has done a fantastic job so far with Bangladesh. He used to coach South Africa. So, test match number 2, test 2, the second test, Bangladesh need a draw for a famous win, famous series win. Never done it before. They haven't even won a test in New Zealand, let alone a series. So it'll be interesting to see if they are going to stack their batting lineup. The bowling all-rounders, they're going to go back to frontline batsmen. I've seen the pitch for the New Zealand. This is a complete green top. This is probably one of the worst green tops ever, which is expected in New Zealand. Their curators are going to respond to that. So win the toss and you're going to bowl. I just hope Bangladesh do not get rolled for something like 100 and then get blown out of the water by an innings in 4 days. The match is over in 4 days. I hope that's not the case. I hope Bangladesh can put up a fight. I think the better nations play to win. If Bangladesh play for a draw, they're going to be in all kinds of trouble. So I think they've got to play to win. Never know. It might be rain. Michael's not here. So if there isn't rain, looks like Bangladesh will have to do it the hard way, but they've done it before, as we just saw, and they've done it again. So that's about it. Like I said, I would have gone through the teams for the second test match. Michael's not here, so we do apologise for that. As you know, this can happen. This happens on live TV. But anyway, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, 3 Point Spanish King. Follow Michael at Michael Wagner. Follow him on Twitter. Retweet him, like him, comment on him, and he'll get back to you. He gets back to me. I embarrassed myself on his Twitter because I kept on saying Bangladesh are going to fail. They're going to fail. And they didn't. And he was absolutely spot on when what he said, saying the ball's doing too much for them not to fail. So I said to him, this is going to be a draw, flat deck, and he said the ball's doing too much. So he's one of the best out there, Michael, when it comes to predictions and that. So he might be able to give you a sports bet multi. Ask him since he's so good on that. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Goodbye.